welcome back to Critical Flick. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be discussing the Oscars nominations that just were announced and how we really feel about them.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of these movies. I think there's only like 2 of the Best Picture nominees that I haven't personally seen. And I have a lot of thoughts about this. And I think there's a lot of things that were kind of questionable in my opinion. I mean, that's just obviously our opinion when we talk about it. You can feel completely differently. That's fine. We just want to say how we felt about people that have seen a lot of these movies.
Yeah, so first off, we're going to start off with like the main nominations.
Yeah, you want to talk about the big ones: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, even the supporting roles. I feel like those, Best Director, those are like the really big ones that people care about. And we might touch on a couple other ones, the small ones, cinematography, things like that. Because, I mean, everyone cares about those really big awards, even though if you're more of a movie fan, you care about the smaller ones too. But let's just focus on the really big ones first. So the first category we want to talk about is like the biggest one of the night, Best Picture. There's a lot of nominees came out, and obviously I think the one that a lot of people were really surprised by, and some people really love that it got nominated, was Get Out.
Yes. I enjoyed this movie. We did not review this movie on our channel. It was a little before we started our channel, but we saw it. I enjoyed it. I did get a little spoiled because I found out who the villain was, and I did not mean to because the person was nominated. So I feel like that kind of ruined it a little bit for me, even though this movie has a great message and it has like different themes throughout the whole movie. I personally don't feel like it should have been nominated. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to agree a little bit. It's a really good movie. I'm not arguing that's not a great movie. It's just, is it an Oscar movie? Is it Oscar worthy? Does it check those boxes that are like, this is amazing, incredible masterpiece of a film? I think that's what you should be if you're nominated for Best Picture for that year. And I just don't know if it's that. I think it has really, like she said, is a really good message. It's kind of political, which is obviously that's what Oscars are. Oscar movies are usually. And the performances, that's where I think it's a little weak for me. The performances they're good. They're not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but this isn't, Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour. This isn't like that kind of like Frances McDormand. This isn't that quality of acting that I think it should be considered Best Picture. I think for some of those smaller award shows, I mean, if you can say smaller award shows, which it didn't get nominated at almost any of them. No. I can't believe that it didn't win there, and then at Oscars it's being nominated when I don't think a lot of people thought it was going to be.
So the Oscars, as you can tell, always kind of differ from the other award shows, and they kind of make up their own list and what they feel is better. And right off the bat, you can see that Disaster Artist was left off the list, which it was in every other award show. And it's mainly, I'm going to be honest, I think it's because of the James Franco controversy.
I think it's definitely because of the James Franco controversy.
I've read, they say it's not, but honestly, I feel like Disaster Artist should have been in the nominated category.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. That was one of my favorite movies of the year, and I think everyone absolutely loved that movie. And everyone thought that was going to be a lock to be in the Oscar nominations. And that wasn't even that long ago. This film came out wide release, so the only thing that's changed between now and then, it's not like Get Out came after it or these other movies came out after it. It's just that controversy. And I feel like that's a strange reason to dock the film. Like, if you want to not nominate James Franco, I kind of get that. I still think that's a little strange. You need to separate the two, like they did with Casey Affleck. I just think that you have to separate the film from the actor in the film. I know that's hard. But the film as itself, there's a lot of people working on it. There's a lot of things going on. Directors, a lot of things that make up the film. It's not just James Franco. And I don't think that should have been docked. And I think that that's not fair. And I'm going to have to say that that's something I think they missed it. I mean, I think that should have been nominated over, I'm not going to say necessarily Get Out, but there's a couple films that are in there that I think could have been knocked out in favor of Disaster Artist.
Like The Post.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed, I saw The Post, I haven't reviewed it yet. But I'm going to say I think that's a clear bias for the Academy towards who was involved with The Post. I mean, you have Spielberg, you have Meryl Streep, you have Tom Hanks. This is like Oscar legends that are in this movie. And I feel like that was going to get locked in no matter what. Not that it's a bad movie. Like Get Out, I think it's a good movie. But I don't think it's even Spielberg's top 5 movie. I don't think it's a Tom Hanks top 5 movie. I don't think it's a Meryl Streep top 5 movie. I think it's a good movie that's just not to the level of being nominated for Best Picture. And I think Disaster Artist was a one-of-a-kind, original, creative film that deserved the recognition of being at least nominated.
Yes, I agree. There's also I, Tonya was left off the list where that movie was included in other award shows.
Another film that I think if we were going to go for kind of like alternative genres like Get Out's a horror film, so that's really impressive that was nominated. I think Blade Runner 2049 should have had a shot at being nominated. I mean, it is a masterpiece of a film. Whether you like it or not, you think it's slow, think it's too long, that thing is a tour de force of film. Like, it is so well made. The acting's really good. You get really good performances out of both Gosling and Harrison Ford, which you don't always get. I mean, Harrison Ford, especially at this age, he could just do whatever he wants to do. And he tried. I mean, you can tell this film was hard to make. It was almost similar to, I'm not going to directly compare it to like The Revenant, but it felt like that epicness, like that bigness and cinematography, and I think it should have been. I think it's worth being nominated.
It was one of the highest rated films of this past year, so yeah, it's crazy that wasn't. And it's because it's science fiction. We haven't gotten there yet in the Oscars. And so that is one reason I feel like it's left off the list. It did get other nominations, which I'm happy for, especially cinematography.
Should definitely win for that.
Definitely win. I love Dunkirk, and like that was a really close second for me for cinematography, but Blade Runner 2049 should definitely win that one.
And I feel like some people would say it's because of the box office, but there's so many Oscar movies that make no money. I mean, I know this movie is going to probably, I don't know if it's losing money, it might, because it didn't make barely anything, but still, I don't think that should matter. If anyone wants to use that as an argument, I don't think that's really valid.
Next hot topic we're going to talk about is the animation category, which blows my mind.
Oh, it doesn't even make sense. And everyone's been saying this. I just want to touch on it like really quick. Why the heck is Baby Boss nominated over Lego Batman? It makes no sense. They can't try to explain it.
It literally makes no sense. There is definitely something against because it's called Lego and Batman.
But wasn't Lego Movie nominated?
No, it was never nominated.
Oh, okay, maybe they're just stupid then. Because I don't get that. Baby Boss, not that it's a horrible movie. I didn't see it, but no one said it's horrible. But Lego Batman was highly received. People loved it, made lots of money. Everybody, why wouldn't you nominate? It really doesn't make any sense. I would get it if you didn't have Baby Boss at all and Lego, but they both missed it. I'd be like, okay, maybe they didn't have enough movies. But Lego, like, under Baby Boss? That makes no sense. Okay, so the next category we're going to touch on is Best Actor. And there's a lot of good actors this year, but there were a couple that kind of snuck in there that, for my opinion, they felt like a little bit, I don't know, like biased, political, why they were in there. When you did have one glaring person that was missing, and that was James Franco. Like, every other award thing previous to these allegations that came out, he was nominated, he won multiple. I just don't think he should have not been nominated. If you don't want to give it to him, that's fine. I mean, they don't really, I mean, it's hard to talk on because I don't want to sound like dismissing the things that could have happened, because if it's true, that's not good, obviously. But his performance was amazing as Tommy Wiseau. It was transformative for him, in my opinion. And I think this might have been his one shot to get an Oscar nomination. I think he's a really good actor, but not many times does he have a role like that.
Yeah, I think is where it falls. It's kind of hard because it literally came out the day before they voted. And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I really feel like that played an effect.
I think it played a huge effect in it. Some
people say that, and I don't truly know because I don't live in LA or part of the Academy Association, but I really feel like that played a part. Again, we don't want to dispute any like allegations that people say or anything. I don't know.
So the other people that I was talking about kind of got into it. Denzel Washington. That movie that he's in isn't a great movie, and his performance is okay. I mean, it's Denzel Washington. Like I said about Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep, it's not even a top 5 Denzel Washington performance. Like, it's fine, but to leave off James Franco and leave off some other people that may have done a better job in their roles in movies that got better received than Roman Israel did, it's just kind of weird. I feel like they were obligated to put Denzel Washington in because they put him in all the time.
I love Denzel Washington movies. I think he's really great. I honestly feel like they put him in here because they kind of not feel bad, but like he didn't win last year. And he probably should have won.
Probably, yeah.
So I feel like that had something to play with it. Again, Denzel, I'm not saying he's terrible. He's not a good actor.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's amazing.
Icon.
He's an icon. He's like up there. He always, when he comes in a movie, he's acting in it.
Yeah, it's not throwaway at all.
No, but you have to look at everything as a whole, I feel like, when you're nominating somebody and the movie they're in and everything.
Yeah, and the other person I was kind of touching on is the main character from Get Out, Daniel Kaluuya. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. But he's actually, I do agree, he's a really good actor. And it is kind of surprising he got nominated. And I'm not so much against that one because in that film he does show a lot of range in horror. People underappreciate horror actors because they think it's kind of over the top. But I thought he did a really good job showing someone in that incredibly awkward situations that he was in. I thought, thinking back on it, when I initially saw his nomination, I was like, I don't really like that. I don't really think that he's worth being nominated. But thinking about it again, I can see how he would make the cut. I think but I still think James Franco should have been in it, honestly, my opinion, regardless of what anyone wants to say. I think that he did a great job over a couple of these people.
Another shocker, just have to mention this real quick, was Daniel Day-Lewis. He was not nominated in any other awards, SAGs or Golden Globes, so this is a little different that they nominated him, and especially since it is his last film. He's retiring after Phantom Thread.
It's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, were they obligated to nominate him? Because I will admit right now that I didn't see Phantom Thread. I heard that it's a rather slow film, and I didn't have a lot of interest in seeing it, but I don't know. I just haven't heard anyone saying that he's absolutely incredible in this movie compared to people that were saying about other actors that they were really incredible in their films and they didn't get nominated.
Like Gary Oldman. I know that for a fact. I haven't seen that movie.
Well, he's fantastic.
He's seen it.
I think he's going to win. He should definitely win Best Actor. And I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a weird year with all the things that have happened in Hollywood and all the controversies. It's kind of like, it almost feels like a throwaway Oscars. Like you might not be getting the actual best nominees because of things that have happened.
Yeah.
So the next big role we're going to talk about is lead actress in a motion picture. And I think for the most part, we got it right with the one exception, and it's the person that always gets nominated. And I know people love her. She's a really good actress, but Meryl Streep was like slightly above good in The Post. Like, Tom Hanks, I think, outperformed her in it, except for a couple scenes. And I feel like it's Meryl Streep. She always gets nominated, regardless of the film she's in. I think it was it last year, that film she got nominated in that nobody cared about or saw?
Yeah, I forget what it was.
I know that the category of Best Actress is tough because, like they're fighting for, women don't get amazing roles in Hollywood very often. So sometimes you get people in Best Actress, they're like, really, that's Best Actress? But when you look at the field this year, I feel like you had a couple people that got snubbed that could have definitely been nominated. For example, Jessica Chastain was really good in Molly's Game. Like, that was a great performance that focused on her. She is that movie. And while Meryl Streep is really good, I feel like that movie is Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep. It's close to which one's even the lead in that film. And I think that, I think she could have missed the cut, honestly. I think that they kind of snubbed Jessica Chastain. And I don't know, it's one of those things. I was talking about the Oscar bias. I feel like it's real. People may not want to admit that it's real, but there are certain people that are always going to get nominated pretty much regardless of what they do. So I think some of the other awards, I think they got right. I don't really have a whole lot to say about Best Supporting Actor and Actress. I think they did a really good job. These are some really good supporting roles in this past year. Maybe not the best lead roles, but some really good supporting roles, ensemble casts. But the one that I kind of want to touch on, is Best Director.
One of the directors that was completely left off this list was Martin McDonagh, and he was nominated for all the other award shows, even won. So it's kind of odd he's left out of the Best Director list. And everyone else is great, but that really is not going to show that. I don't know if it might change a little bit, that Shape of Water might actually win more awards than Three Billboards in some categories. So, I don't know. It's a little shape shifter.
Yeah, it's strange because while we didn't love Three Billboards, I know a lot of people really loved it. And it is strange that it's nominated for Best Picture. You have Best Actress in it. You have two Best Supporting. And yet the director isn't nominated. Who
made the movie?
It makes no sense. Like, why would you have all these... okay, I just don't understand. I don't even know how to explain it, why that he wasn't nominated. Maybe you should have added another person. I think it's a slightly smaller pool of people that are nominated for Best Director. Just add him in there. I think he's worth being in there if his movie is so great with all these other people in it, and the film itself's great, and I think it's even nominated for Screenplay Awards. I just don't understand why he's not nominated.
I feel like there's a little love for Phantom Thread because the director for that was added instead. Paul Thomas Anderson.
He's another,
So that's why I feel like that kind of pushed that director out. And I don't know where it's going to go, but I definitely feel like the director for Shape of Water...
Guillermo del Toro, I think that he's probably going to win. I honestly, at this point in time, I am going to see Shape of Water tomorrow. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm sure it's really good. He always does a really good job. But Christopher Nolan, just give the man a freaking Oscar already. Oh my God, the work that went into Dunkirk. Plus just, the amount of Oscars you probably owe this guy already. Just give it to him. Like, come on, what's he got to do? Like, honestly, I don't think there's anything he can do at this point. I don't think there's a single thing that Christopher Nolan can do to win an Oscar. This was the year, and I think his movie is going to get snubbed. I think he's going to get snubbed. I mean, he'll probably win some, like, sound mixing, like Interstellar. He's just going to win some random award.
He's definitely going to win one of those other awards. It's sad to see Christopher Nolan on this Best Director list, and I know he's just not going to win.
Well, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
This is true.
Last year.
The problem is they didn't really have a core character group, so none of the actors are nominated.
Yeah.
It's just basically a Best Picture.
Well, that's what I think that's what I think's impressive. This movie has no other than like sound design and visuals and things. It has no, actors, nothing of that makes the movie great because it was Christopher Nolan that made the movie great, which is, I think he single-handedly is responsible for more of the film than any of these other films. Like, you can say these directors for, who's nominated again? Yeah, like, there's a lot of them here, like Jordan Peele. He wrote a really good script, it's a really good movie, but then it has really good acting. It has a lot of other things in it. The guy from was nominated for Best Lead Actor. Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis was nominated. All these films have nominated actors or multiple nominations for those kind of things that made the movie great. This was Christopher Nolan's vision that made this movie great, and his direction that made the movie great. It wasn't the acting, it was him. So I think he deserves the award more than anyone else.
And it's also a little sad because Lady Bird only has, I believe, 3 nominations for Oscars, and honestly, I really love that movie, and it's going to get this knocked out.
If I were to pick, that would be probably my best picture, to be honest with you. Dunkirk or Lady Bird. And I'm so glad that they actually did nominate Greta Gerwig because she totally deserved it. It's ridiculous that she didn't get nominated.
Yeah.
So thank God they nominated her because that would be just crazy if they didn't.
Yeah, that movie was just so perfect in so many ways.
It's so relatable. And if you want to say that it's kind of bland or whatever, that's fine. But it resonates with so many people, including us. And I think that's really something special about it. And that's completely tangent to what we're talking about. But I think that Lady Bird is just a really resonant film for people. And I think it's fantastic, and I can't believe that it's probably. I mean, it's not going to win Best Picture, but I hope it does. So while I've mentioned multiple times that I love Blade Runner, and I think a lot of people do. People that really appreciate movies really love Blade Runner, and I think that it did get snubbed in some categories, Best Picture and things like that, and even Best Director. I think he could have been nominated, but I'm glad it got a little bit of love. I'm glad they appreciate the cinematography and the sound and all that stuff that went into Blade Runner. So I hope it wins the few that it's nominated for, or at least one, because it deserves at least one. And, you were just talking about
Logan. I'm really excited I got nominated for something. I personally, the movie was okay to me, but I can see now looking back at it, it's actually a really good movie. And
yeah, that's our very first review on the channel ever, and we didn't appreciate the movie as much as we do now. Like, it is a really good movie, and looking back, speaking about Logan, even though it did only get nominated for 1 Oscar, I think that Patrick Stewart could have been nominated for Best Supporting in that movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that.
That changed my mind. So he could have been thrown in Best Supporting. I said there was no problems with Supporting. He could have been in Supporting.
Yeah. I really thought Wonder Woman should have got some love. There's a lot of talk saying that it should be nominated for Best Picture. I honestly don't feel that way. I love Wonder Woman. The first 2 acts are amazing. The last act is where it falls apart for me. And it should have been nominated for, I don't know, costume design, because her costume's pretty sick looking. And also just breaking boundaries and molds this past year, a woman director, and even Gal Gadot just killing it this past year. Like, talk about woman power. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, you did have Lady Bird and Greta Gerwig, but it is kind of strange, even though I do not think that Wonder Woman is an Oscar-worthy film. It's a good movie. I'm surprised it didn't get a little bit. Just throw something to it, like just anything. Like, I didn't really, it kind of felt like you should have got something. People were clamoring for anything for that movie, and it didn't get any, so that's kind of surprising.
Yeah. So this is our discussion of the Oscar nominations. Let us know if you agree, disagree. We really want the discussions just to keep flowing down in the comments down below.
We want to know your thoughts. We want to know what you think about the Oscars. I feel like award shows are extremely subjective, so, like, everyone's going to think differently. So I totally think people might be like, they're crazy. Why would you say that? Get Out's the best movie ever. Or you could say, Blade Runner's awful. Why would you say that? That should be nominated for stuff. And it's totally subjective. Films are really subjective. I think people forget about that sometimes when you watch reviewers. And you want to argue and say you're stupid and you're wrong and all that stuff. But the only thing that, It's up to you whether you like it or not. Unless you like Transformers, then you're wrong. But other than that, you can think whatever you want about movies. And that's the great thing about movies. You have movies that make tons of money that aren't even... like Jumanji. People love Jumanji. I mean, I don't think it's incredible, but like people love movies, people want to have fun. And then you have movies like Blade Runner or Shape of Water that probably won't make a whole bunch of money, but they're really good movies. So it's...
Yeah. Movies are always up for discussion, and that's why I feel like it's just a great thing to talk about. I mean, so many people have different views. It's always a topic that keeps people talking.
Yeah, we argue about movies constantly, and we try to get here and not argue with each other constantly.
And lastly, I just want to say RIP to James McAvoy not getting any recognition for Split.
I don't want to talk about that. There's no reason why why'd you even bring that up? There's no reason why he should not be nominated for Best Actor.
Let us know what you think about that one.
That's ridiculous. And if you think otherwise, he's played 8 characters.
I just had to throw it out there. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and yeah, bye guys.
See ya.
Bye.